Yuio is born with an absolute post-nut lottery luck. Even when he was a kid, he used to keep pulling winning numbers one after another in the lottery market. Luck used to follow him like a slave wherever he goes, but back then he never thought much about it. To him, it was simply normal. Years later, our boy has become a total gaming trash and spends his days sitting in front of his PC. His guildmates gather in voice chat as he prepares to open an extremely rare loot box. Everyone starts hyping him up because somehow he always manages to pull impossible items. Yui tries to explain what his luck actually feels like. Right before something lucky happens, a strange tingling sensation spreads through his entire body. He has never been able to explain why. He simply trusts the feeling. Since our boy's luck stats are already maxed out, the impossible happens again as he opens the box. A weapon with an unbelievably low drop rate appears on his screen. His teammates completely lose their brain cells while our guy just smiles quietly. Unfortunately, that ridiculous luck is only useful inside a game. Bro is broken as beans in reality. He has spent the last 2 years locked inside his room playing games while every single job application slams rejection on his ass. His phone keeps filling with rejection messages until he finally accepts the painful truth. His gaming luck has never helped him in real life. Looking at the little money he has left, he realizes he has finally hit rock bottom. With a heavy heart, he announces that he is leaving the guild so he can focus on finding a job. His guildmates are shocked and immediately ask what happened. Yuio explains that job hunting has taken over his life and he can no longer keep playing. They sympathize with him, joking that the guild is about to fall apart without its leader. During the conversation, they learn he graduated from Jinsen University with a degree in business administration, something that suddenly catches one particular guild member's attention. Then an 1110 sorceress inside the game casually asks him a few questions before telling him to stop wasting time searching for jobs and simply come work at her company instead. Yuio is completely caught off guard. His chronically unemployed brain can barely process what he just heard, as she confidently insists she can get him hired. Our boy is sitting there wondering if his lottery luck is finally entering the real world. The scene then shifts to a luxurious office where Yuio's resume lands directly on someone's desk. His profile is far from impressive. He is 27 years old with only a face card and a birth certificate. Despite that, an order arrives straight from the CEO's office instructing the company to place him in the trading department immediately without an interview. Even the department manager cannot believe what she is reading because the CEO has never personally assigned an employee like this before. Our guy then thinks about the brutal world of stock trading. Although the market officially opens at 9 in the morning, traders begin preparing long before that. Every second matters because enormous amounts of money move through the market each day. The trading floor feels less like an office and more like a final boss dungeon. Our boy walks into this chaotic environment and introduces himself to his new coworker despite knowing absolutely nothing about the profession. The team leader, who is an absolute 1110 gym guy, quickly realizes that he is an ultra noob. He asks if he has ever invested before or even practiced with simulated trading. Yuio can only look at his face because bro honestly has no experience at all but promises to work as hard as he can. He is already tired by wondering how someone with zero experience managed to get hired into one of the country's top investment firms. Team leader then assigns associate Hai Yun as his mentor. This pretty pastry instantly begins showing him around the office, while Yuio still struggles to believe he actually landed this job. As they walk through the company, Hai Yui explains the office culture. She tells him that traders practically survive on coffee and asks him to memorize everyone's usual order before the morning meeting. The only exception is the team leader, who never drinks coffee. She also warns him about one coworker who is far better at flirting than actually working before explaining how demanding the job really is. Junior employees constantly gather information, monitor the market, and support the senior traders every second of the day. According to her, the stock market is basically one giant casino where hundreds of billions of won change hands daily. Most of the people lose both their money and their sanity trying to survive here. Hearing all of this, our guy's confidence starts dropping faster than a meme stock after bad earnings. Before returning to work, Hai-Yun suggests that neither of them will quit without telling the other first. Yuio genuinely appreciates her kindness, thinking that having someone this honest beside him might make surviving this company possible. Soon afterward, the team begins discussing market conditions, throwing around terms like inflation, foreign investment, ETFs, futures, semiconductor valuations, and hedging strategies. Our boy listens carefully, but the words only spin over his head. Everyone around him sounds like they are speaking another language. His brain practically blue screens before the market has even opened. Later that night, the story briefly shifts to the company's CEO speaking on the phone. It is finally revealed that he is actually the same sorceress from Jui's gaming guild. He explains that hiring him was never charity. During all the years they played together, he watched him manage the guild, solve problems, and keep everyone united. He believes those leadership skills are valuable in the real world as well, which is why he personally brought him into the company. However, he warns him to respect his seniors and never tell anyone how he actually got the job. Back at the office, Hyolin asks more about his background and eventually discovers that the only trading experience he has comes from winning a university stock trading competition hosted by this company. Although it only involved virtual money, she admits it is still better than having no experience at all. She then explains how junior traders are evaluated. New employees do not immediately trade with real company funds. Instead, everyone starts with virtual capital, and those who consistently earn the highest profits eventually receive the opportunity to manage real investments. Hearing that, our boy feels a little relieved. At least here, results matter more than connections. Finally, the clock strikes 9, and the quiet office instantly transforms into complete chaos. Monitors fill with flashing numbers, keyboards start flying, phones ring non-stop, and every trader locks onto the market with incredible focus. Yuio watches the entire floor come alive in amazement. Then something unexpected happens. That same strange tingling sensation he always feels before an incredibly lucky moment suddenly spreads through his body again. It is the exact feeling he gets before opening a legendary loot box in his game. Yuin points out that one stock has suddenly crashed to its daily lower limit, but our guy can barely hear her anymore. His eyes remain fixed on the buy button as the familiar sensation grows stronger. For the first time in his life, his mysterious luck is activating outside a game. Trusting the feeling completely, Yuin clicks the buy button, taking the very first step toward changing his entire life. Our boy freezes the moment the buy order goes through. He watches the price fall instead of rise, and his confidence leaves the chat. Haishuang quickly notices something is wrong and rushes over to his desk. She asks why he suddenly buys the stock, then immediately realizes he placed the order at market price. That means the trade executes instantly without giving him any chance to change his mind. Seeing how lost he looks, she does not scold him. Instead, she explains that blue means the stock has reached its lower limit and cannot fall any further. She reminds him that every click matters in trading because one careless order can decide the entire result. Our guy can only stare helplessly at the screen while his first trade becomes a complete disaster like his corporate career. Everyone on this trading floor focuses on scalping. It is a style of trading where positions are opened and closed within seconds or minutes to collect many small profits throughout the day. Every second counts, and every decision has to be made instantly. The trading floor feels like a battlefield filled with flashing red and blue charts, non-stop mouse clicks, and traders who never take their eyes off their monitors. Here, hesitation costs money, and quick judgment separates winners from losers. Back at his desk, Yuio keeps watching his position sink deeper into the red. The strange tingling that always guides him feels exactly like it does before opening a rare loot box in a game. But this time, the result is completely different. Hire suggests selling the stock, but after another look at the chart, she says it could still recover if they wait. A moment later, she changes her mind again and admits that selling now might at least reduce the loss. Even she cannot confidently predict which choice is correct. Yuio apologizes and cannot stop thinking about his mysterious ability. Until now, it has never failed him in games, but this trade makes him wonder if it has nothing to do with the stock market after all. Hayui notices how discouraged he is and reminds him that this is only simulated trading. The company expects rookies to make mistakes during training, so there is no reason to lose confidence over a single bad trade. The rest of the office continues working as if nothing unusual happens. Nearby, several employees gather around the daily performance board, after seeing an average return of 1.3%. Our boy wonders why everyone is impressed by such a small number. Haibin explains that the percentage looks small only because the amount of money is enormous. A senior trader managing 20 billion won who consistently earns a 1.3% return can generate around 3 billion won in yearly profit. Traders who achieve those results are considered A-class performers. She adds that a securities company only cares about one thing in the end. The people who make the most money earn the most respect. Just then, our hot gym rate leader comes and reminds everyone that the day is far from over. Today's profits still need to be calculated, and tomorrow's strategy meeting must be prepared before anyone can leave. Later, Garo Yui quietly visits team leader Park to tell him about Jimura's mistake. She explains that the trade happens while she is personally training him, and she worries that his first day evaluation could suffer because the stock immediately hits the lower limit. Park notices that this thrifted Mother Teresa is already defending a junior she has known for less than a day. He finds that interesting, but says nothing about it. Instead, he reassures her that he has no intention of judging a rookie too harshly over one mistake during simulated trading. He tells her to stop worrying, continue training Yui properly, and prepare for the next briefing. Relieved, Yui thanks him and leaves. After she walks away, Park decides to look at the trade himself. The stock name Jui Gang Insurance appears on his monitor. At first, he assumes it is simply another rookie mistake. New employees often confuse buying and selling during training, which is exactly why they start with virtual money instead of real capital. Then he notices something unusual. Yuio does not accidentally press the wrong button. He places a full market buy using everything available. For a brief moment, Park wonders if the decision is actually intentional. Just as quickly, he dismisses the idea. It is only mock trading, and Julio is an inexperienced parachute hire who has barely joined the company. There is no point reading too much into it. The market closes, but nobody gets to relax. Reports, trading records, market analysis, and documents for tomorrow's strategy meeting begin piling up one after another. Our boy spends the rest of the evening helping Hiryu with whatever work she hands him. By the time everything is finally finished, he realizes he has spent almost 14 hours inside a corporate jail on his very first day. When they leave the building together, Hiryu tells him he actually performed well overall and only made one mistake. Yuio jokingly wonders if putting everything into a falling stock really counts as a small mistake. She laughs and explains that nobody judges a rookie based on one failed simulated trade. Then she admits team leader Park might be the only person strict enough to do it. The image of Park glaring at him immediately appears in Jui's mind, and our boy's soul almost leaves the planet. Yuio laughs at his reaction before reminding him about the promise they made earlier. No matter how difficult work becomes, neither of them is allowed to disappear without saying anything first. After wishing him a safe trip home, she heads off for the evening. Yuio watches her leave and quietly realizes how fortunate he is. From the moment he arrives, Heron treats him kindly, protects him, and patiently teaches him everything without making him feel like a burden. At the same time, the exhaustion finally catches up with him. His legs feel heavy and he is convinced he will fall asleep the second he reaches home. Just then, his phone rings. The caller is the guild leader who also happens to be the CEO of the company. Yuio answers politely, but he immediately tells him to stop acting so formal when they are talking privately and simply call her Hyung. He teases him by asking if the job is already harder than he expects and if he has started complaining to his mentor. Yuio quickly denies it. Instead, he admits that spending a full day inside the company only makes him respect everyone there even more. He explains that the work is far more difficult than he imagines, and that the office is filled with financial terms he can barely understand. As he walks home, he continues talking honestly. He tells him the atmosphere during market hours feels incredibly tense because everyone around him is fighting their own battle, while he still struggles to understand what is happening. Watching people work so confidently makes him question if he truly belongs there. The CEO immediately shuts down those doubts. He tells him he trusts his own judgment completely, and if he believes he can succeed, then he should stop doubting himself as well. The conversation quickly becomes lighthearted again when she suddenly asks what time he is logging into the game that night. Out of habit, our guy almost says he is already online before remembering he has literally just left work. The CEO immediately starts teasing him, joking that now he finally has a real job, he is already abandoning his guild. Yuio hurriedly promises that he will log in as soon as he gets home. The next morning, the trading floor comes alive once again. Team leader Park announces that the strategy meeting will begin in 15 minutes and asks if anything important happens overnight. One employee reports that several stocks experience major volatility and says all the market research has already been sent by email. Yuio opens the report and begins reviewing it. Most insurance stocks are falling sharply because of the recent interest rate hike. Everything looks completely normal until Zhuwang Insurance's name catches his attention. Instead of falling with the rest of the sector, it rises by 15%. Our boy freezes. Haibu Fine notices his reaction, looks at his monitor, and loses her brain cells as well. The same stock everyone expected to fail yesterday is now the only insurance stock showing a huge gain while the rest of the sector is showing red. Before either of them can understand what they are looking at, team leader Park calls Junio and calmly tells him to come to his office because they need to talk. Thomasine shifts to Junio visiting his parents. His father cannot stop smiling after hearing the news that their chronically jobless son has finally found a job in Gwangun Securities. However, his father is shocked because someone with Juio's background normally wouldn't get into one of the country's top investment firms. His mother jokes that she knows her son was never the hardest worker, but quickly adds that the company must have seen something special in him. The teasing never feels harsh. It's just a family that's genuinely happy to see our boy finally getting his life back on track. Before Juio leaves, his father quietly tells him how proud he is, and reminds him to keep working hard no matter how difficult things become. Hearing those words makes our guy realize it's been a long time since he last saw his parents this happy. Whether he got the job through luck or connections doesn't matter anymore. All he wants now is to prove he deserves it. The next morning, Juio arrives at work where Hebyun greets him with her usual cheerful smile and jokes that he actually came back instead of running away after his first day. Our guy laughs, but his mind is somewhere else. Ever since yesterday, one question has been stuck in his head. Did his strange ability really work in the stock market, or was it all just a coincidence? The moment he sits down and checks yesterday's mock investment, he almost stops breathing. Zhonggang Insurance is up 15% while almost every other insurance stock is falling because of rising interest rates. Our boy stares at the screen in disbelief. If that had been a real investment instead of practice money, he would have left Elon Musk behind overnight. For the first time, he seriously wonders if the strange tingling sensation that always guided him in games actually works in real life too. Before he can think any further, team leader Park calls him into his office. Walking inside, the first thing Yui notices is a dumbbell sitting in the corner, making him wonder if this guy is running a gym behind that LinkedIn portfolio. Park starts with a few simple questions about how Yui is adjusting before getting straight to the real topic. He reveals that he already knows Yui joined the company through the CEO's recommendation, and asks what their relationship is. The CEO had already warned our guy never to mention they met through an online game, so Yuio politely apologizes and says he cannot answer. Park accepts that response without pushing further, but then asks the question he really cares about. Why did Yuio buy Juigang insurance? He explains that nobody in the morning briefing had enough information to predict such a move, and a complete beginner certainly shouldn't have been able to make that call. From his point of view, there are only two possibilities. Either Juio had access to information he shouldn't have, or it was nothing more than unbelievable luck. Our guy nervously chooses the safest answer and admits that he's always been unusually lucky. Park simply nods and tells him to return to work, but it's obvious he isn't fully convinced by his tacky answer. Once Juio leaves, Park's thoughts reveal what he's really thinking. He knows the CEO never makes careless decisions, so there is no chance she hired a random rookie without a reason. However, he's concerned that this new employee is hiding something, and sooner or later he plans to figure out exactly what it is. Instead of confronting Yui directly, he calls Hire Yui into his office and gives her a new assignment. From now on, she and Yui will spend their time focusing entirely on mock trading. Hayamaid thinks it's a great opportunity because junior employees rarely get this much practice. She believes team leader Park gave them this chance because of the successful Juigang insurance trade. She thanks our boy for creating such a good opportunity, but Junyo awkwardly brushes off the praise because he knows he simply followed a strange feeling without even knowing the tin of trading. The team meeting begins soon after, covering the latest market trends. The biggest topic is the electric vehicle industry, where recent battery fires are expected to lead to stricter safety regulations. Rising nickel prices and growing battery costs are becoming major issues across the sector, and the analysts discuss which companies could benefit or suffer from these changes. Yuio quietly listens to everything without saying much because most of the financial terms still fly right over his head. But as he watches everyone break down the market and build strategies together, something clicks. It reminds him of preparing for difficult raids back in his gaming days. Before every boss fight, players gathered information, planned their roles, and decided the best strategy before jumping in. The stock market suddenly doesn't seem so different, and he wonders if it's another final boss with a different loot table. Before ending the meeting, the presenter reminds everyone that the team's recent performance hasn't been great, and warns them not to chase risky profits today. As everyone starts leaving, team leader Park gives Ryuin and Julia a separate assignment to collect research on catalyst material companies. On the surface, it looks like extra work, but Park's real goal is simply to give our guy more room to observe the market without interference. The moment Juio finally returns to his desk, he focuses on the one thing he's wanted to test ever since yesterday. He opens a new chart and stares at the moving candles while resting his hand on the mouse. If yesterday wasn't a coincidence, then the feeling should come back. Seconds later, the familiar tingling spreads through his fingers exactly like it always did before opening rare loot boxes in games. Our boy takes a deep breath and trusts it again and clicks the buy button. The order goes through instantly on a completely different stock called Dihan Solution. Yuio watches the chart in complete silence as the price begins moving exactly the way his instincts predicted. The team leader observes this from his room and notes that our boy has once again clapped the rule of diversification in 4K, happily celebrating a rare profitable day. While enjoying the moment, she suddenly remembers our noob corporate slave and realizes she has been so focused on her own work that she has barely checked on her junior all day. When she looks over, she immediately notices something strange. Junyo is just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. For a second, she panics and wonders if the pressure got to him so quickly that he has already mentally checked out. The real reason is much simpler. Our boy calmly admits that he put all of his mock investment money into a single stock as soon as the market opened, leaving himself with nothing else to trade for the rest of the day. Hyun looks at his screen and watches Dihan Solution sink lower and lower. She can only sigh, thinking she probably should have shorted the stock instead. Still trying to stay positive, she proudly shares that she managed to earn a 2% return today, and jokes that she might be the only person on the entire team who actually made money in this disaster of a market. But the second she checks Jinyo's account, her smile disappears. She is shocked to see that bro has YOLO'd the entire account again. She immediately reminds him that the first rule of investing is diversification, because putting everything into one position is basically asking to get wiped out. If he had spread his money across several stocks, today's loss would never have been this bad. Our guy wants to explain that he is only following the strange ability that guides him, but there is no way he can tell anyone that, so he quietly accepts the lecture. Instead of staying angry, Hyun decides to help him properly. She tells Jinyo they are going out after work because she is buying dinner and giving him a real crash course on surviving the trading. Our guy happily agrees. Just then, the corporate ice queen Miju suddenly spawns behind them, dropping the room temperature by 5 degrees. She instantly shuts him down, reminding them that this is an office, not a playground. Before anyone can continue, team leader Park calls everyone together for the strategy meeting. As Jinyo and Hyerun walk toward the meeting room, he asks why she reacted so strongly. She explains that today's market has been brutal, even senior employees have taken heavy losses, and the entire department is on edge. The meeting room feels unusually gloomy because almost every trader has been hit hard by the falling market. Several employees admit they lost money even after trying to hedge their positions, and everyone agrees that today was a disaster across the board. Team leader Park arrives and reminds everyone that losses are simply part of the job. Instead of thinking about today, they need to prepare for tomorrow. He then grabs a coffee and tells everyone to focus on the strategy meeting. Before he returns, another team leader named Kim Hak-tae stops him in the hallway. What starts as casual teasing quickly becomes something more serious. Kim points out that his own junior staff have been running extra errands for Park's team while Park lets the CEO's special hire spend the entire day doing mock trading. Rumors about the CEO's parachute employee have already spread through the company, and Kim jokingly asks if Park has started licking officials' peaches too. Park calmly denies it and explains that he simply has something he wants to confirm. Kim presses him for an answer, but Park avoids explaining the details. Deep down, he is still trying to figure out if Jinyo is completely useless or whether there is something extraordinary hiding beneath that dumb face card. Before leaving, Park reminds Kim to be careful with his own CEO-backed employee, because one complaint reaching the executive office could easily cost someone their career. Kim immediately drops the subject and quickly leaves. Back in the meeting, Park tells everyone to stop looking so defeated because tomorrow is another trading day. His strategy is simple. The market is too dangerous to fight directly, so the team will focus on defensive positions and hedge through short selling. During the discussion, Park notices Jinyo's mock trading results. Everyone else is stressed after today's losses, but our guy looks as calm as cucumber despite putting everything into one stock that is falling together with the rest of the battery sector. He dismisses it since it is only mock trading, but he quietly watches him and admits he may have been reading too much into a single lucky trade. Maybe Junyo Insurance really was just a coincidence. There is no reason for this battery stock to recover unless the entire market flips upside down overnight. Then the impossible happens. The next morning, breaking news explodes across every monitor in the office. Indonesia suddenly announces that it is cutting nickel exports by nearly 1/3 to stop prices from falling further. Since Indonesia is the world's biggest nickel supplier, the announcement sends the entire market into chaos. Traders rush to close their short positions as stock prices begin moving wildly. Companies that rely on imported nickel immediately crash, while businesses with large nickel reserves shoot upward almost instantly. Hyerun rushes over to Park with the research he requested on domestic nickel reserves. After checking every major company, she finds that almost none of them have meaningful stockpiles. Only one company is sitting on a massive reserve. Before she even finishes speaking, Park already knows that it's Dihan Solution. Hyerun nods and tells him the stock is soaring. At that exact moment, Park remembers that the person who bought Dihan Solution before anyone knew this news was none other than our Triple Alpha. Suddenly, every conversation they had over the past few days plays back in his head. Nobody could have predicted a government decision like this. No analyst, no institution, no insider, but somehow our clueless newbie bought the perfect stock before the news even existed. Park can no longer brush it off as luck, but he has no idea how Jinyo did it. Meanwhile, Hyerun excitedly rushes over to our boy and tells him about Indonesia's shocking announcement. She is amazed because everything they learned during yesterday's market briefing suddenly became real overnight. Jinyo acts just as surprised as everyone else, but inside he is putting the pieces together. Yesterday, the entire battery sector looked hopeless, and now everything has completely reversed. Then another realization hits him. Dihan Solution is a battery company, and with nickel supplies suddenly becoming scarce, companies holding large reserves naturally become much more valuable. He casually asks Hyerun if their team was heavily shorting battery stocks yesterday. She smiles and tells him they avoided major losses thanks to team leader Park deciding to play it safe. Just as everyone is trying to process the market chaos, Park goes to the department head Lee Taiho. He quietly tells Park that he wants to recommend Jinyo for promotion to senior staff. Elsewhere, inside the CEO's office, Hwang Dalek quietly puts down his phone after getting bored of playing games against AI opponents. Winning against a machine just does not feel the same as competing against real people. As he leans back in his chair, one thought naturally crosses his mind. He wonders how our guy is doing at the company, completely unaware that Jinyo has already started turning the entire trading floor upside down without anyone understanding how. Yui doing celebrates like she just won the lottery after finishing today's mock trading. She proudly shows off her results and says this is lesson number 1 for surviving the proprietary trading department. On days when the market crashes, everyone is already in a terrible mood, so the first thing every junior needs to learn is how to read the room. She explains that some seniors get annoyed the moment a junior earns a better return than they do, so the safest strategy is to basically camouflage for corporate survival. She even demonstrates it herself by slumping her shoulders and putting on the saddest expression imaginable. Then she reminds our boy that mock trading results are used to evaluate juniors, but since no real money is involved, he shouldn't let one bad day discourage him because everyone starts somewhere. Junyo quietly listens to everything she says, genuinely touched by how much she cares about him. She even looks like she's about to cry while giving him advice, making him wonder how someone can be this kind to a junior she has only known for a few days. At the same time, another thought refuses to leave his mind. If Hyun ever finds out he's nothing more than the CEO's parachute hire, would she still smile at him like this? Hyun raises her glass and promises that, as his senior, she'll teach him the secret to making high returns. Her grand strategy turns out to be having another drink, and before long the two finish dinner and head home. The next morning, our guy arrives at work as usual, but the moment he turns on his monitor, he freezes. Dehan's solution is sitting at the daily upper limit once again, up another 15%. His brain short-circuits because this confirms what he has been afraid to believe. His mysterious ability really works in the stock market. It isn't a one-time coincidence anymore. 2 trades in a row have hit the daily limit, making his ability look less like luck and more like a real-life cheat code quietly running in the background. Meanwhile, Hyun drags herself into the office, looking completely exhausted after last night's drinks. She's barely awake until she notices Junyo's screen. The second she sees another 15% return, every bit of sleep disappears from her body. She buries her face in her hands, completely embarrassed, realizing she spent the entire night proudly talking about her own 2% gain, while her junior secretly pulled off another perfect trade. She immediately declares that Junyo has been a hidden master all along and dramatically drops to her knees. Shorty gets to her knees and Bro's about to present his joystick, but Gallo's only interested in learning his trading secrets. Our boy completely panics and insists it was just another lucky accident, but Hyun refuses to believe anyone can hit 2 perfect trades in a row by coincidence. While she's desperately shaking him by the shoulders, Junyo can't help smiling. Most people would be jealous if their juniors suddenly outperformed them, but this pink pastry is genuinely happy for him. Elsewhere, department head Lee Tae-ho stares at Junyo's trading record with his jaw dropped. 2 straight trades have both hit the maximum daily return, and both stocks were personally picked by a rookie who hasn't even survived his first week. He immediately asks Park how anyone could seriously recommend promoting someone like Junyo to senior this quickly. Rumors would spread that the CEO is simply favoring his own hire. And besides, these are only mock trading results with fake money. Park calmly lets him finish before asking a simple question. What if those exact trades had been made with the company's real money instead of practice funds? What if the only reason the profit stopped at 15% was because the Korean market has a daily price limit? What if those same trades happened in overseas markets where prices have no ceiling at all? The department head quietly falls silent as his brain practically files for overtime. Park explains that the market couldn't care less about office politics or who recommended whom. In this industry, bonuses are earned through performance, not connections. Years ago, Lee himself taught Park to always invest in the safest asset available. Park says he's simply following that advice because right now betting on the possibility that CEO Hwang Dae-look saw something special in Junyo seems like the safest investment he can make. As the battery sector chaos finally settles down, the team manages to survive by cutting its losses, although several senior traders are shaken badly enough to resign. The market really started collecting resignation letters like Pokemon cards. Most people simply treat it as another ordinary day in the investment world. However, CEO Hwang Dae-look barely reacts. He calmly says that investing is ultimately a mental game, and anyone who can't handle pressure probably isn't meant to survive in this industry. In fact, he believes everyone should be thankful this happened in the domestic market, because if the exact same event had unfolded in the US market, half the trading floor would have been speed-running unemployment. Just as Hwang stretches out on his office couch to relax, his secretary reminds him that he asked her to keep an eye on staff Jang Jinyo. She reports that after several senior traders resigned, the proprietary trading department has already submitted a promotion request, and Jinyo's name is somehow on the shortlist. Hwang immediately sits upright in disbelief. Bro hasn't even unlocked his first paycheck and they're already trying to speedrun his promotion. Even so, he tells his secretary not to interfere. After she leaves, he quietly admits that the whole situation is partly his own fault. He dropped Junyo into one of the country's toughest investment firms without explaining anything, so naturally everyone is trying to figure out how they should treat him. After thinking it over, he decides things might actually work out better this way. A rookie won't be trusted with serious trading capital anytime soon, so there isn't much danger, or at least that's what everyone believes. Saturday arrives, and while most people are enjoying their weekend, these finance gremlins had to report back to corporate prison. Junyo meets Hyron outside the station and notices her arm resting in a sling, but she casually brushes it off before explaining that Saturdays are reserved for organizing and reviewing everything that happened throughout the week. They analyze which stocks moved, what events triggered those movements, and which opportunities everyone missed. She happily points out that they still receive overtime pay and even get off work earlier than usual, making weekends slightly less painful. As they work through another mountain of reports, Junyo finally asks the question that's been bothering him ever since he joined the company. Hyron once compared the stock market to a giant casino where logic doesn't always win. So if that's true, why spend countless hours researching and organizing information? Hyron pauses for a moment before answering. She admits that nobody can perfectly predict the market because every economy in the world is connected. A single decision on the other side of the planet can eventually create massive waves everywhere else. Even so, preparation is the only thing traders can actually control. Every report they read and every chart they analyze might only improve their chances by a tiny amount, but a 1% edge is still infinitely better than praying to the financial gods. Told her words stay with Junyo. Earlier that day, he overheard people on the subway complaining that finding a job was impossible and saying they might as well stay home playing games instead. Not long ago, he would have agreed with every word. But now, watching Hyron quietly work through endless stacks of reports without complaining, he realizes that this wholesome workaholic is grinding harder than Rock Lee preparing for the tuning exams. Luck may have opened the door for him, but hard work is what allows people to stay inside. Our boy promises to give this job everything he has so nobody can ever say he doesn't deserve to be here. After finally finishing work, Junyo drags himself home feeling like corporate life has personally hit him with a steel chair. Just as he starts wondering if the house is empty, a cushion suddenly comes flying across the room like a heat-seeking missile and smacks him right in the face. Looking up, he finds 1110 Hottie leaning over the back of the couch in workout clothes. Jorginho's family celebrates his new job over Samgyeopsal. His sister and parents can barely believe he actually landed a position at Gwangun Securities, joking they thought he'd faked a business card. Junyo brushes it off and keeps feeding his sister more meat and telling her to just eat. His dad tears up, while his mom says how proud she is. Seeing this, our guy quietly thinks he'd cover the dinner using his gaming savings, since he hasn't gotten his first paycheck yet, but he doesn't mind. It just makes him want to work harder so he can treat them to something better next time. The scene shifts to Hyron explaining how promotions work inside a brokerage firm. Every proprietary trading department follows a strict ranking system. Junior traders handle smaller amounts of company money, while higher-ranked traders receive larger and larger trading funds. Hyron excitedly explains that at Gwangun Securities, even the lowest-ranked prop trader manages 1 billion won. The best traders can even sign individual contracts, and the biggest monsters on the trading floor earn well over 10 billion won a year. Our boy nearly blue screens hearing that number. He quietly realizes why graduates from top universities fight so hard to become traders. Before he can think any further, Hyron shoves a stack of documents into his hands and tells him to hurry because they have work to do. Even while organizing the paperwork, Junyo keeps thinking about those numbers. Even an alpha witch like Yao Miju earns a position here. Then she must be one of the absolute elites in the industry. Before our guy can finish that thought, Team Leader Park calls everyone's attention. He explains that several senior traders resigned after the chaos caused by the nickel market. But instead of mourning their departure, he tells everyone to see it as an opportunity. In this industry, people who cannot survive simply leave. Since those traders are gone, the department now controls the funds they used to manage, meaning new senior traders are needed. Some employees quietly assume the company must have recruited experienced traders from outside, but Park reveals that upper management decides to promote from within instead. He announces the two names that will fill those positions, Jung Jinyo and Lee Hyron. The entire office freezes. Even our guy and Hyron can only stare in disbelief as Park casually congratulates Associate Jinyo and Associate Manager Lee Hyron before telling them their desks will be upgraded before the market opens. Not everyone accepts the announcement. This corporate bitch instantly confronts Park, arguing that promoting Hyron makes sense, but promoting a rookie is completely insane. She cannot accept Jinyo becoming a senior trader so quickly. Park calmly shuts the discussion down by reminding her the decision has already been approved by upper management, and they can only cry about it. Hearing this, she apologizes and walks away with a face that screams this witch is absolutely not over it. Meanwhile, technicians begin installing our boy's new trading station. They finish setting up 6 monitors, a professional hotkey keypad for instant buy and sell orders, and even a dedicated fiber optic connection to eliminate order delays during heavy trading. Our guy stares at the setup like he just upgraded from a bicycle to a NASA control room overnight. Man has never even used 2 monitors while gaming, and now they're dropping 6 on his desk just to buy stocks with wild guesses. The technician explains that prop traders live and die by milliseconds because one delayed click can cost millions. Hiron asks if he understands everything before suddenly laughing and catching herself. Our boy calls her associate manager instead, which makes her cringe instantly. She practically begs him to stop because her promotion is so fresh that even she hasn't patched it into her brain yet. The excitement quickly disappears when Hiron reminds him they are no longer playing with virtual money. Every trade now uses real company capital. Every gain is real, every loss is real, and the company will definitely notice both. She tells him not to overthink it and simply trade the same way he did during mock investing, because she genuinely believes in him. The peaceful moment lasts about 5 seconds before this rice cake factory Miju spawns behind them like a bitch in heat. She criticizes both of them for smiling when they have no idea how serious their new responsibilities are. She reminds them how hard she worked for her promotion and refuses to accept two newcomers receiving the same rank so easily. Hiron politely apologizes and promises they will not become a burden, but Miju dismisses her without a second thought. Watching Hiron get blamed for something she never did finally triggers our boy's long-dead manhood. He steps in and asks why Hiron is being scolded when all she has done is patiently mentor a complete beginner. If anyone deserves that promotion, it's her. He promises they'll prove themselves with actual trading results instead of pointless arguments. Yang bursts into laughter, calls him an arrogant rookie, and warns that the market is about to cook you. Hiron after Yang storms off. Hiron immediately pulls him aside and asks why he would challenge a senior like that. She reminds him mentors are supposed to protect their juniors, not the other way around. Our guy just smiles and says juniors can protect their mentors too. Hiron lightly smacks his arm and tells him to stop trying to act cool because what he did was incredibly reckless. And soon, Jinyo sits alone at his brand new trading station. 6 monitors are glowing in front of him while the clock shows 8:36. 1 billion won of company money is now in his account. Our boy takes a deep breath, places both hands on the keyboard, and prepares to begin. Team leader Park finds Yang standing alone on the balcony in a really bad mood, and Park already knows why. She's furious that Lee Hiron and rookie Jung Jinyo both received senior promotions. Yang insists she can at least understand Hiron's promotion, but Jinyo has barely been here long enough to memorize everyone's names. Park then shares a rumor floating around HR. Apparently, people believe Jinyo is related to the CEO and is basically a parachute hire. He advises her not to make an enemy of him just in case. Hearing that, Yang nearly has a stroke as she remembers how harshly she treated Jinyo earlier. The story then shifts back to our boy sitting at his desk. 6 monitors are displaying stock charts climbing higher and higher, but this corporate illiterate cannot make a single move. His hand rests on the mouse while sweat slowly forms across his forehead. The strange instinct that always guides him doesn't appear, and our boy is sitting there completely lost. He starts wondering if something has changed because the sensation that usually guides him is maybe currently under maintenance. A little later, Hiri comes to check on him. She sadly tells him that she loses 3% and gets suspended from trading for the rest of the day. Seeing Jidal's surprise, she explains that the risk management team monitors every trader in real time, and rookies who lose 3% are immediately stopped from trading. One bad day and the company hits you with the touchgrass update. After accepting her own situation, she asks how Jino is doing, expecting him to be making good profits after his amazing performance in simulated trading. Instead, she discovers that our guy has not placed a single trade all day. Jingshua admits he cannot feel the strange instinct that usually guides him, no matter how many stocks he looks at. He begins wondering if his ability has some special condition that he has not figured out yet, but she thinks he is simply lacking confidence, so she encourages him to trust his instincts and study the market reports again. She hands him her research binder and explains that what people call a sixth sense often comes from knowledge stored in the subconscious. Before leaving, she says she is going to ask the risk management team to lift her suspension and wishes him good luck. Our boy carefully reads through the research material for the first time. Most of the financial terms are too difficult for him to understand, but one section reminds him of something Hiri explains earlier. As he scrolls through the pages with his mouse, he suddenly feels the familiar static travel through his arm. At that moment, he realizes he has finally unlocked the cheat code for his mysterious ability. The scene then shifts to Alpha Baddie Yang, who walks across the office with her hair down, lifting almost everyone's gaze and maybe joysticks. Curious coworkers wonder what she is planning. She approaches Junju like a bitch in heat and asks how his first day of real trading is going. Yang apologizes for being too harsh on him earlier, saying the pressure of the market and her own poor performance make her lose her temper. She asks him to forgive her, and our Rizzler awkwardly accepts the apology. The atmosphere changes almost immediately. Even a corporate witch like Yang Miju finally stopped hating our boy. You have absolutely no excuse not to hit that hype button. Yang steps closer to his monitors and casually says she wants to see how her junior performs today. Assuming the difficult market must have caused him heavy losses, she tells him not to worry because every rookie struggles at the beginning, while secretly trying to find out how badly he performs. However, the moment she looks at his trading screen, her smile disappears. She stares at the number in disbelief, adjusts her glasses, and checks again. Juno has a 10% return. Our girl just blue screened in real time. She cannot believe a rookie earns a 10% profit in a bear market by buying only 3 stocks. He does not even use short selling or other advanced strategies. In just one day, he makes around 100 million won in profit. Yang starts wondering who Jinyu really is because she thought he was only the CEO's parachute hire, but her entire conspiracy theory just slammed back in her face. From inside his office, Park also notices the result. He looks at the 10% return and thinks he might be witnessing the birth of an extraordinary trader. The next morning, our boy arrives at work with a new goal. After thinking about yesterday, he finally understands that his ability does not activate randomly. The more market knowledge he learns, the more information his ability can reveal. If he wants to become stronger, he has to keep studying. As soon as he enters the office, he notices everyone's attitude has completely changed. Coworkers warmly greet him, congratulate him for earning the highest return in the company the previous day, and say they are lucky to have him. Our guy is completely confused because everyone suddenly treats him like a celebrity, but all know loyalty in this office lasts shorter than a TikTok clip. Soon, several employees gather around his desk, praising him and asking questions. Jorino starts feeling uncomfortable from all the attention. Yang steps in and tells everyone to give him some space. She explains that the whole team struggled during yesterday's bear market, but Janyo's profit greatly improved the team's overall performance, giving everyone some relief. A moment later, Hirikam arrives and happily greets him. Some co-worker quietly watched Yang's sudden change in attitude and joke that she never misses a chance to present her ass to successful people. They admit they originally think Geno is just an overconfident rookie, but after seeing his results, they realize he truly backs up his words. Yang then tries to get closer to our boy again and casually asks if he can share the secret behind his success. However, before anyone can continue, team leader Park interrupts them. He scolds everyone for treating the office like a playground and orders them back to work. The entire crowd quickly returns to their desks. Later, Park calls Jinyu into his office and tells him to check his trading account. Our boy is shocked to see that his trading capital has increased by 4 billion won. Park explains that he personally approved the additional funds. Jinyu is confused because he has not even worked at the company for a month. Park then reminds him of the company's philosophy. At Gwangwon Securities, results matter more than anything else. He says he does not care about Jinyo's background, education, or the rumors that he is a parachute hire. The only thing he wants is to cash out his insane money glitch. The market is about to open, so Park tells him to prepare for trading. As Jinyo leaves, Park quietly thinks that many people will continue looking down on the rookie because of the rumors surrounding him. For now, he decides to clear the path in front of him. In return, he wants to see just how far our boy can really go. Hirikam is amazed after seeing our boy earn a 10% return with only 3 trades. She calls him a stock genius and says most traders have to make countless trades to earn results like that. She explains that experienced day traders constantly buy and sell throughout the day, sometimes making over 100 trades. Jinyo is surprised when she admits she made around 150 trades the previous day and ended up completely exhausted. This makes our boy wonder if day trading actually requires more courage than his cheat code trading. Before they can talk any longer, Hirikam notices the market is about to open. She cheers him on, wishes him good luck, and rushes back to her desk. Watching her leave, our boy feels much calmer. Earlier, he was nervous after team leader Park suddenly gave him another 4 billion won to manage, but now he is ready to trade. Sitting in front of his monitors with 5 billion won in capital, Jinyo reminds himself that he finally understands how his ability works. While watching the market, he spots KK Bank, a stock he remembers from the research reports. The familiar feeling appears, so he immediately buys the stock. After that, he plans to spend some time studying until the feeling returns. However, the strange sensation comes back almost immediately for the same stock. It tells him to sell, then buy again, then sell again. Our boy keeps following the signal as it repeats over and over. Buy and sell orders pile up one after another, and he has no idea when the ability will finally stop. The story then shifts to the CEO relaxing in his office. He thinks about Jinyu and assumes the rookie has probably already lost enough money to receive a trading suspension. He even jokes that losing 50 million won would simply be an expensive lesson, and the man is already preparing the "I told you so" speech. When he checks Juno's account, however, he is completely shocked. Back at the office, our boy suddenly gets a nosebleed. He realizes he has pushed himself too hard. His eyes hurt, his body feels exhausted, and he decides to rest for a few minutes. He falls asleep almost immediately. Meanwhile, the CEO carefully checks Juno's trading records. He discovers that Juno earned 1 billion won in just 2 days. Starting with 1 billion won, Juno first made a 10% return. After receiving another 4 billion won, he earned an incredible 20% return. He realizes that the records are real and is stunned. He notices that Jinho makes over 100 sell trades without a single losing trade. It is impossible to call it luck because Jinho seems to know the perfect time to buy and sell every single time. At this point, even the market is wondering if our boy has insider information from the future. Realizing how unbelievable this is, the executive immediately orders his secretary to call all the managers responsible for senior trader Zhang Jinho to his office. And we all know that nothing ruins a manager's afternoon faster than hearing, "The CEO wants to see you." Back at the company, Hirikon finds our boy asleep in the men's lounge. She wakes him up and notices the dried blood from his nosebleed. Jinho says he is only tired and tries to return to work, but Hirikon tells him the market is already closed because it is 4 in the afternoon. He is horrified that he sleeps through the rest of the trading day and quickly apologizes. Hirikon laughs and tells him not to worry because after today's results, nobody is going to complain. As they walk back to the trading floor, Jinho notices the office feels unusually tense. Hirikon explains that team leader Park, the department head, and the senior managing director have all been summoned by the CEO. The story then follows the managers as they nervously head to the CEO's office, wondering why they have been called. Every single one of them is mentally replaying the last month like they just got audited by God. After everyone arrives, CEO Huang Dailuk welcomes them inside and asks a single question. He wants to know who approved the additional 4 billion won given to Zhang Jinho. A few office NPCs chat in the break room after seeing the company's monthly performance announcement. They complain that Proc Trading Team 1 becoming the top team and Jinho being named the top trader must be favoritism because he is a CEO recommended hire. They cannot believe that someone who has worked for less than a month could earn that title fairly. Yang overhears them and immediately defends our boy like a fructose mommy. She tells them they have never seen him trade and says he earned a 15% return in a single day through his own ability. The others are left speechless. Later, Yang notices Jinyo's desk is empty and wonders where he is. Meanwhile, Jinyo is relaxing at home for the first time in weeks. He reflects on everything he has learned about his ability. He now knows that it tells him when to buy and sell, but its effectiveness depends on how much market information he has studied. He also realizes that using it repeatedly causes severe physical exhaustion. Turns out, his cheat code comes with a subscription fee, paid in brain cells. Normally he would spend the weekend at the office, but Haiyuan and the rest of the team insisted that he rest because his trading had already helped everyone earn better results, and even improved the team's performance bonus. While resting, Jinho receives his first salary notification. He expects a normal paycheck but is stunned to see 700 million won deposited into his account. Bro damn near has a stroke looking at all those zeros. Before he can recover from the shock, CEO Huang Dailuk calls him. The CEO explains that the payment is correct because traders receive a percentage of the profits they generate along with bonuses. He warns Yuum not to spend everything because he still has to pay taxes. Since it has been a while, he also invites Yuum to have a meal together. At the restaurant, the CEO casually eats and drinks while chatting about an old teammate who has stopped playing the game. Yue thinks about how unusual the CEO is. At work, he runs a major securities company, but outside the office, he acts like an ordinary middle-aged gamer who enjoys spending time with his guild members. During the meal, the CEO explains why he hired Yue. He says he has never hired someone without proven experience before, but Yue was the first exception. It was not because of his gaming skills alone, but because he always stayed calm, took responsibility, and performed well during important moments. The CEO says Jishu's success at the company proves his results are more than simple luck. He asks only one question, if Jishu has his own investment method, and our trading illiterate boy can only spit out a yes. But the CEO says that answer is enough and does not ask for the details. The story briefly flashes back to the meeting with the managers. Team leader Park admits that he personally approved an additional 4 billion won for Jejundu because he believed in his potential after seeing his mock trading results. Even though another manager criticizes his decision, Park stands by it and explains that he simply made the best investment choice based on Jinnu's talent. He also recommends creating a new team for Jinnu instead of keeping him in Team 1. Back at the restaurant, the CEO reveals that Park himself suggested giving Jinso his own team. He explains that Park would have earned a much larger bonus by keeping Jinso on his team, so recommending him for a promotion proves how highly he values Jinso's ability. The CEO then offers Jinso the position of team leader. Jinso is shocked and refuses, saying he has only worked at the company for 1 month and lacks the experience to lead others. The CEO accepts his answer for the moment and decides to try a different approach. Later, Janju takes his parents and younger sister shopping. He encourages everyone to buy whatever they need, saying he also needs clothes for a friend's wedding. His parents hesitate because they are not used to spending so much money, but our thrifted Elon Musk insists on paying for everything in full. He remembers that the CEO told him to spend some of his earnings on his family before making any decision about becoming a team leader. Before leaving, Junyo surprises his younger sister by giving her a brand new laptop because her old one had become too slow. She is touched by the gift and jokes that her gamer brother has changed so much that it almost feels unbelievable. Junho simply tells her to stop worrying and choose anything else she needs, making his family genuinely happy. After buying clothes and a new laptop for his family, Junho watches them happily enjoy themselves. He realizes his sister has been using the same old laptop for years without complaining, and his parents have quietly worn the same clothes for a long time. Seeing them smile makes him feel that his family's life is finally starting to improve because of him. As he looks at his hand, Junho realizes he has never felt this satisfied before. No achievement from years of gaming ever gave him the same feeling as being able to support his family. At that moment, he decides he wants to become even more successful, so he can give them an even better life. Just then, the CEO calls him again to ask about the team leader position. After thinking about everything that has happened and seeing his family's happiness, Junho finally makes his decision. He accepts the offer and agrees to become a team leader. Elsewhere in the company, a couple of employees stop when they see the equipment team carrying a huge pile of computer equipment down the hallway. One of them asks what is going on and wonders why they are moving so much hardware. His coworker tells him he clearly missed the announcement. The company is creating a brand new proprietary trading team called Proprietary Trading Team 7. The first employee is already surprised, but the next piece of news shocks him even more. The new team leader is Jong Jino, the rookie from Proprietary Trading Team 1. The employee immediately recognizes the name and mutters that it's the CEO's famous parachute hire. News spreads through this office faster than stock prices. But meanwhile, our boy stares at the business card in his hand. It reads Jong Jino, Team Leader, Proprietary Trading Team 7, Gwangwon Securities. He wonders if he can really lead an entire team. Lost in thought, he keeps clicking his mouse until his phone suddenly rings. It is the CEO, and as always, the conversation feels more like two old guild members talking than a boss and an employee. The CEO tells Junho not to overthink everything, and says leading a trading team is just like leading raids in their old online game. Junho immediately disagrees, saying those are completely different things. The CEO laughs and says raid leaders actually have the harder job. They have to split loot fairly, organize dozens of players, deal with people going AFK at the worst time, manage the guild economy, and somehow keep everyone's ego under control. However, compared to that, leading a company team is not so different. He reminds Junho that he successfully handled all of that for years, and if he gives this job his best effort, people will naturally follow him. Our boy feels a little more confident and headed toward his new office. On the way, someone from the equipment team stops him. The employee laughs and says they keep meeting because Jun changes departments every few weeks. He hands Jun a brand new high-end computer mouse. Apparently, Jun has already worn out 3 mice, so this one should survive a little longer. Our boy thanks him and admits he probably clicks a little too hard. The employee just smiles and asks him to be kind to this mouse. A moment later, Hiri walks over with a bright smile and greets him as team leader. She looks around his private office and says it is amazing. Shinyu honestly tells her he wouldn't be here without her help. Hiri laughs and says it still feels strange because she was teaching him only a short time ago. Shinyu feels awkward hearing her call him team leader and tells her to just call him Ginyu like before. She immediately refuses. As far as she is concerned, our boy's promotion is climbing faster than crypto during a bull run, so wants to treat him accordingly. The scene then shifts back to explain why Hiri joins his team. Earlier, the CEO approves her transfer and tells her she will be working with Jong Jino from now on. He explains that Jino has incredible instincts for investing, but he knows almost nothing about office life. He needs someone he can trust beside him, and Hiri is the perfect person for that. She is surprised but quickly realizes she is now officially part of Proprietary Trading Team 7. Another transfer happened as well. Associate Manager Sibo J. Peel from Proprietary Trading Team 3 learns he will also join the new team. He doesn't mind changing departments because a good trader can succeed anywhere, but what worries him is working under a rookie who has only been at the company for 3 weeks. In his mind, leading under the CEO's favorite rookie sounds like a complete headache. Soon everyone gathers in meeting room AO3. Our boy introduces himself as the leader of Proprietary Trading Team 7 and greets everyone. Seshu Jae-pil introduces himself as the Deputy General Manager, followed by Associate Manager Kim Chung-kyeon, Associate Manager An Young-sung, and finally Hiri Kun, who cheerfully greets everyone with her usual energy. Jianxu tells everyone he hopes they can work well together. Looking at him, Jae-pil quietly thinks there must be a reason the company trusted this total idiot with a whole team. Maybe he has something special that nobody has seen yet. Jaemo asks what their first move should be. The question immediately leaves Jaemo speechless. Everyone waits for their new leader to speak, but he can't think of an answer. 6 people are staring at him and our boy's brain immediately disconnects from the server. Watching the awkward silence, Jae-pil starts wondering if he expected too much. Chung Hiri steps in and begins the meeting himself. He explains that global investors are pouring money into the Chinese stock market. The Chinese index has climbed from around 2,000 points to over 5,100 in just 1 year, an increase of about 150%. Money from countries with weaker markets continues flowing into China, and every report says the rally will continue. Here quietly admires the presentation because this is exactly how an experienced trader analyzes the market. Meanwhile, our boy is nodding like he totally understands, even though half these charts look like ancient hieroglyphics to him. Here says they should make money while the opportunity is there. Their team controls 50 billion won, and everyone agrees that investing in China's bull market seems like the safest plan. Xu Ying recommends buying Chinese steel companies because the government continues supporting them. The research department also believes China will become the center of the global economy, making this one of the safest investments available. Even J-Pill agrees with the plan, but something doesn't feel right to our boy. Whenever every investor agrees on something, that's usually when the market decides to pull the funniest prank imaginable. Jinyu quietly looks through the stock list, hoping his strange ability reacts like it always does. Then it happens and a familiar tingling spreads through his fingers. Blue sparks flicker around his hand, strange images flash through his mind, and red Chinese characters appear, followed by a giant bowl surrounded by flying coins. However, instead of feeling lucky, the vision feels like a warning. J-Pill notices Jinyo's expression change. He slowly asks if everything they just discussed would collapse if the Chinese stock market bubble suddenly burst. Yujo quietly answers yes. J-Pill looks at him carefully and asks the question everyone is now thinking. Does team leader Jiang believe the Chinese market is about to crash? Our boy gives a small smile and says yes. J-Pill quickly admits there is a bubble in China, but there is no reason to believe it will burst anytime soon. He notes that every indicator still points toward more growth, and there is no event that could trigger a collapse. Daniel listens to everything without interrupting. Then he calmly gives his answer that he understands the analysis, but his decision will not change. Holding the market report in his hand, our guy announces Team 7's very first strategy. He says that from this moment on, proprietary trading Team 7 will build its entire portfolio on one assumption. The Chinese stock market bubble is about to burst. Meeting room A03 gets silent after Jinyo announces that Team 7 will build its strategy around the collapse of the Chinese stock market. J-Pill, Chung Hyun, and An Young-sang are shocked because predicting the exact timing of a market crash is almost impossible. J-Pill Chung Hyun to get a report from the research team on how a Chinese market crash would affect the Korean market so they can prepare their trades. After giving the order, he ends the meeting and leaves. Outside, J-Pill tells Chung Hyun the plan sounds insane. Everyone knows the Chinese market is in a bubble, but no one can predict when it will burst. J-Pill then asks Hyun, who admits the decision looks strange but says she fully trusts Jinyo and believes everyone will soon understand what kind of trader he is. Back at his desk, J-Pill feels the pressure of risking 50 billion won on pure vibes. Later, J-Pill is sitting on the rooftop while thinking that a proprietary trading desk should not be betting everything on a foreign market crash. He starts worrying less about bonuses and more about whether the team will even survive if the trade fails. Just then, Youngmi-ju passes by complaining that team leader Park refused her request to transfer to Team 7. She believes staying close to Jinyo would have guaranteed profits. This witch knows where the money printer lives. She later congratulates J-Pill on joining Team 7, making him even more confused about why everyone seems so confident in Jinyo. While he is questioning if everyone else is crazy, Chung Hyun interrupts him and shows him the completed research report. J-Pill decides to deliver it himself because he wants to speak with Jinyo first. He asks Jinyo if he really intends to go through with the strategy. He admits does not care how Jinyo became team leader, but wonders if he is taking unnecessary risks to prove himself. J-Pill asks him to reconsider. After a long silence, J-Pill worries he has gone too far. However, our guy quickly explains that although he leads the team, every proprietary trader makes independent decisions. So if J-Pill truly believes in the strategy, he should trust his own judgment instead of anyone else's. But he replies that he really respects that opinion. After J-Pill is about to leave, he wonders if the conversation means nobody trusts him. Instead of thinking about it further, he gives J-Pill a list of stocks and products to trade. He tells him to distribute it to everyone and make it clear that this is his strategy and that he alone will take full responsibility. J-Pill passes the orders to the team. They are to buy Chinese short ETFs and short steel-related investments. Hyung immediately tells everyone to begin trading without hesitation while the others remain frozen. J-Pill finally submits the orders. A risk warning appears because the investment limit has been exceeded, but he ignores it after reminding himself that Jinyo accepted full responsibility. The team commits the entire 50 billion won to positions that will profit only if the Chinese market crashes. Nothing happens at first and the Chinese market continues rising. J-Pill keeps watching the screens. Although his intuition tells him the crash is coming, he still feels the weight of managing such a huge amount of money. J-Pill, Chung Hyun, and Young Sang walk around the trading floor nervously. Unlike the others, J-Pill brings coffee and homemade cookies. Since every position is already open, she sees no reason to panic. She asks Jaehyeo if he is worried, but he says he is not, although internally his soul is about to leave. Hyun tells him everyone else is anxious, but she trusts him because every investment she has seen him make has produced strong returns. To her, that level of consistency is far beyond luck, so Schroer tells him to believe in his own results. Jaehyeo thanks her and asks what margin trading means. Hyun explains that it is buying stocks with borrowed money. She compares the Chinese stock market to a huge party where people become so eager to join that they borrow money just to enter. As long as prices keep rising, leverage increases profits. At that moment, the China Securities Regulatory Commission announces strict regulations on margin trading because too much borrowed money has entered the market. The announcement creates immediate panic. Investors rush to sell as fear spreads through the market. Back in Team 7's trading room, Jaehyeo senses that something has changed. Selling quickly overwhelms buying, and the Chinese market begins falling rapidly. The index drops from around 3,000 to 2,896, then 2,800, 2,600, and 2,400 in quick succession. The Chinese stock market bubble finally bursts exactly as Jaehyeo predicted. Jaehyeo explains margin trading to Jaehyeo. It allows traders to borrow money to increase the size of their positions. It works well while prices keep rising, but when prices fall, losses grow much faster. If a trader's losses become larger than their available margin, the brokerage issues a margin call. If the trader cannot add more funds in time, the firm forcibly sells the position to recover the borrowed money. Those forced liquidations push prices down even further, triggering more margin calls and creating a vicious cycle. That exact chain reaction is now tearing through the Chinese stock market. The trading floor falls into complete corporate chaos. Phones ring without stopping as traders desperately try to deposit more margin before their positions are liquidated. Park Hang-seo begins the forced liquidations while panic spreads across the room. Even stock baddies like Miju rushes to exit her position at any price, and everyone finally understands that the market bubble has truly burst. People cannot believe the Chinese authorities suddenly introduced stricter margin trading regulations, but the damage is already done. Just as Jaehyeo predicted, the Chinese stock market begins collapsing. The heavily leveraged teams suffer the most as many believe their investments will become worthless. At the same time, proprietary trading Team 7 watches its put options soar in value. The ETFs had risen earlier, but their put options have already more than doubled. Jaehyeo stares at the crashing charts in disbelief and wonders how Jaehyeo managed to predict such a collapse before anyone else. The team asks Jaehyeo what they should do next. One of them feels sorry for investors trapped in long positions, but he suggests focusing on deciding the right time to sell their put options. The rest of Team 7 grows restless. Other traders temporarily relax after the Chinese government suspends trading and closes the market for the day. Since the team is already sitting on more than a 20% profit, everyone expects Jaehyeo to lock in the gains. Instead, he refuses to sell and orders the team to keep holding. His decision shocks everyone because they believe the profits are already extraordinary. Nobody understands how Jaehyeo remains so calm while risking such a large position. If the market suddenly recovers, they could lose a huge amount of money, because Jaehyeo bought put options across every available expiration date while the market was still booming. However, Deputy General Manager Sepul tells everyone to stop trying to understand him because Jaehyeo has operated on a level beyond ordinary traders. The team slowly accepts that he must have another plan. All as rumors spread across Uido, people began talking about an unknown securities firm that bought nearly every available put option just before the crash. Even stranger, none of those options have been sold back into the market. Many firms begin searching for whoever made that incredible trade. All-K Securities CEO Kim Kang-hyun concludes that the Chinese government acted earlier than expected to stop the bubble from growing further. Small securities firms are now collapsing under margin calls. Although KS Securities limited its losses through stop-loss orders before trading stopped, KPL is more interested in finding the mysterious traders who predicted everything correctly. Believing they received information faster than the industry leader, he orders the company to triple its spending on informants in China and send people across Uido to identify whoever bought all the put options. The following day, 2KS Securities employees begin searching around Uido. They unknowingly follow Jaehyeo, Lee Hee-rin, and the rest of Team 7 without realizing they have already found the people they are looking for. Hee-rin avoids revealing anything, while Jaehyeo quietly realizes the investigators are searching for them. The irony makes him smile as the KS employees even end up eating lunch only a few feet away from the very traders they have been ordered to find. Later, Hee-rin casually explains put options using a cookie as an example. She says a put option gives someone the right to sell an item at a fixed price within a certain period, even if its market value falls. The buyer pays a premium for that right, and the premium changes depending on the expiration date and the chance of the price moving. She jokingly claims that her own cookie will definitely lose value, making it the perfect candidate for buying a put option. The KS employees overhear the explanation and are impressed by her knowledge, but they still fail to realize she belongs to the mysterious team behind the massive trade. Meanwhile, Team 7 continues waiting for Gino's sell order. Everyone trusts his judgment completely, and Hiram proudly calls him the god of stocks because he always seems to make the impossible happen. JPL thinks about the reputation he has built earns him the absolute confidence of his teammates. However, that trust is about to face its biggest test on the very next day.